Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Gerald Goldstein. This is Dr. Scora. We're a fertility clinic that's based in Dallas, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit about our program. Hopefully y'all found this conference very educational. I think it's, I don't know if it's your first time you've been here or the second time, but it's really an amazing opportunity to get a lot of information, which I've always felt like that. You know, initially when you hear the process, it can seem so overwhelming, and you're like, I don't know how does anyone ever get pregnant, but believe it or not, if you break things down in their parts, then you know it works. And I'm the father of two boys that are 12 and 14, and I can say that it's like amazing in terms of what kids do and how they change your life. It's like besides getting payback for the trouble that I caused my parents, but it's still just an amazing process. And so we'll kind of go through some slides, and more than anything, really for questions, because I know that there are you've heard a lot of information earlier today, and see what really questions you have in terms of a little bit about us, about why you would come to Dallas for clinic for fertility treatment. A lot of people are like, I didn't even know that they would do surrogacy in Texas. But believe it or not, surrogacy is Texas is a very friendly state for surrogacy. There's a lot of case law in Texas, and so it's made it where that we as a clinic do a lot of surrogacy. So again, it's me and Dr. Scora. We do primarily most of the surrogacy for our clinic. I started the clinic in 2005. Last year, we probably did about 60 to 70 surrogacy cycles and about almost 1,000 IVF procedures. So why Fertility Specialist of Texas? I think that it's important when you're going to an agency, and more so, and also to a clinic, to find a place where you're comfortable, and more than that, that's really gay friendly, and that understands what you're going through, because it really is a very overwhelming process, and also someplace that works with a lot of surrogacy agencies and really is able to help walk you through the process and keep you informed, because there's it can be other than when you come initially and have your freeze your sperm. It's like there's a lot of stuff that happens from there till the very end that you really need to know or to keep you aware of, and that can only happen when you're have a team. We have two people from our team, Marissa actually and Tessa, who are part of our third party program, and that are typically have coordinators that really would be assigned to you, that you would come to know very well, that would help you help navigate the process. And obviously feel free to...
So as I kind of said this morning ineloquently, one of the reasons why I joined this practice was its strong commitment to the LGBTQ community. On this slide, you can see kind of the events that we are involved in the Dallas region, as well as all over the country. On the right is another Men Having Babies conference. My first one was in New York last, November. In the center is Black Tie Dinner, which is actually the largest fundraiser for HRC in the country. And that was in October, right? Yep. And then on the left is a group called Rainbow Roundup. They're a group in Dallas, Texas, specifically, that's oriented towards LGBT families, as creating a safe space for LGBT families, and we sponsor that group as well. So one of the reasons why I joined this group was that it was extremely LGBT friendly before I even got there.
So, I think that, when people say why Fertility Specialist of Texas, I would say the first thing is really success. I mean, the end point is really, obviously you want to get along with the doctor and have someone that has a good personality on and on, but ultimately, you want to have a baby. And we have a very good lab, and a lab is a very critical component of the process. In other words, the environment where the embryos are nurtured. We have an embryologist, Dr. Guerrero, who is a PhD embryologist, as well as 3 full-time embryologists besides him, and have a large facility that's, and we do a lot of IVF, but I would say that because of our lab and our success rates really are good, it allows us to offer programs such as money-back guarantee programs, because we know what our success rates are, and we won't feel like that you should have the opportunity that if you're not, if you weren't successful, that you would have money. Obviously, when you're using an egg donor and a gestational carrier, for example, would be incredibly, typically it's almost like a population. I know you hear, we have a guaranteed programs, and you'll see other people, but really when you're talking about using an egg donor and gestational carrier, you really don't need that, because, particularly when you're doing an embryo transfer, you're either going to get pregnant the first, the carrier is going to be pregnant the first time, or subsequently when you're doing a frozen transfer the next month. So in our program, it's about 70 to 75%. In terms of pregnancy rate for individuals using an egg donor and gestational carrier. And you can see that in general, success rates go down as women get older. But obviously, you're using donors who are young, and so that's not really, they have in general success rates very good.
So we also have an in-house egg donor program at Fertility Specialists of Texas. This can help to lower costs for you guys, kind of a one-stop shop. We have generally a group of, between 30 to 35 women that are cycling at one time in terms of availability. If one of our people is not exactly what you're looking for, we can try to find someone for you in the community. What's nice is that these are all Dallas local people, so you're saving money on the travel costs for the egg donor. They don't have to travel to our clinic, flying and so forth, and it just brings down the cost in general. You lose a lot of the legal fees as well, because it's all taken care of in-house. We are also a GPAP participating clinic. We have unlimited stage 1 cases. I don't know if you guys have already learned about GPAP today. Probably already, yeah. And we do 1 stage 2 case annually, which is the free case. We work with surrogacy agencies all across the country. And we try to match you as quickly as possible with this gestational carrier. If you come to us first, we will get you whatever you're looking for. If you come through a surrogacy agency, that tends to be a little bit different, because they'll recommend you to us, and we'll send their egg donor. If you use an egg donor with us too, it's fine as well. We work with all the gestational carrier agencies. So we also have, as Dr. Goldstein was talking about, the Shared Dreams program. So with this program, we offer 100% money-back guarantee for a live birth. That's not just a pregnancy, that's a live birth, take-home baby. Obviously, you will pay a little bit extra to have that guarantee and money-back guarantee, but we believe in our success rate so much that we're able to offer this ourselves. This is not through a bank, this is us. So, and that's it. That was us at the last conference. If you have any questions, we're here. We're happy to take questions.
That's a lot of, if you have any, again, it's a very overwhelming process, but certainly if y'all have any particular questions about, genetic screening, about doing split insemination, about how many times you have to, typically one question that we often get asked is how often you have to come to Texas, or, and typically when we see, we can, even before you come, we do Skype consultations on the phone, or a Skype consultation, or talk to you on the phone. But basically, we would have you come to Dallas one time, where we sit down. We kind of go through the process, and then usually we talk to you, connect you with a surrogacy agency that's either in Dallas, or if y'all found a surrogacy agency before, but try to meet with you. Typically, if you're planning on doing like for example, split insemination, then we'd have you both free sperm. We do a physical examination. You have blood tests. It's all required by the FDA. And then the next process is really picking out an egg donor. And that's where, you would certainly be able to look at our our in-house egg donors. Or I always say that if you're looking for someone that's like 6'4" and has like an SAT of 1800, we probably don't have that person. So we can certainly refer you to agencies that we've worked with and that they know us and we know them. And I think that's important really when you're talking to agencies to get an idea of, it's like that people say a lot of different things, but the real deal is someone is like, agencies that work a lot with a particular clinic that you want to get, because they'll tell you the real deal in terms of, how many times people have to go through and things like that. But we would have you, a lot of times, for example, when patients come to see us, that they usually, for example, would fly in, have dinner with either meet with a surrogate the night before, and then they come to us. We end up, sit down with you, go through the process, bank sperm, and then you'd meet with one of our coordinators, sign consents, and basically that's it. And then if you'd like to come when we do the embryo transfer, then obviously you can do that. But we have a lot of people that Skype they Skype the embryo transfer. But hopefully you come at least for the ultrasound, because it's really like an emotional process, because it's like you're like, this is a real deal. And so question. Yeah. So one question that is amazing is I know that when you think of Texas, you think of maybe like Rick Perry and Ted Cruz, and you're like, this doesn't make sense how you're like a fertility clinic talking to gay guys about doing surrogacy in Texas, but actually Texas has a very strong surrogacy laws, and so there's it's not an issue. I mean, one thing, for example, and I don't know how many people we're seeing, like for example, if you come to our clinic, you'll see that right behind us, Toyota. I mean, there's a lot of actually California companies that are moving to Texas, and they're doing that really because of the financial part. In other words, that there's no state income tax, so we're able to be more affordable. And primarily, also when you talk to agencies, that which is actually a larger percentage of cost in terms of what from a fertility clinic, that it's more affordable because you're not spending paying for the real estate and things like that. So, no, Texas is actually very friendly. It's not a problem getting pre-birth order, being on the birth certificate, and I think that when you talk to people, then they'll and you should talk to, either we could get you in touch with IPs that have come through, and you'll be pretty surprised, and and they can tell you really, what the process is. There's a.
Yeah. So in terms of cost savings, specifically if you use an egg donor in our program, you're going to be saving cost in terms of legal, as well as for any of the travel for that egg donor. So that's going to save you significantly. As Dr. Goldstein was saying also, when you're using a surrogate or a gestational carrier in Texas, their amount of money that they're going to cost is going to be less. The per monthly cost for that gestational carrier is going to be less. So you're looking at, generally, compared to the West Coast or East Coast, you're generally going to see a $30,000 to $50,000 decrease in cost.
And obviously, we're just doctors. We don't really, we can't talk to you about the logistics, and we don't really want to be. I mean, I think because some people, we have global packages, but we have global packages, but you could talk to our financial person on the phone or in person, and and you would be able to get, which you should really get, detailed information in terms of what the cost is from the clinic, but also from the surrogacy, and from the surrogacy clinic, and find out, and because that's important. It's like it's amazing to me, quite frankly, and Dr. Score knows this, is just that literally it's like one of the things that made me interested in it is more so is that is how much money that two guys can spend and end up having zero. I mean, it's like crazy. And I'm like, and not to say that we're, obviously people say different things, but I mean, in general, if you have a good lab and you're working with good people, you shouldn't have to go through like 5 transfers, for it to happen. And so we're committed, and the agencies that we work with are know that when we take on something, that we'll see it through the end, because it's like we're not talking about whether you're going to have, I mean, literally whether you're going to have an extra, like we're not talking about Gucci purse or whatever, we're talking about having a baby, and a baby changes your life, and so it's like we want to make that happen.
So you mentioned about in-house egg donors. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about the base, like what that base looks like?
About what?
Your in-house egg donor base.
You want
Yeah, sure. So our current egg house donor base is somewhat homogenous. One more minute, sorry. Somewhat homogenous to the Dallas area. We do have some ethnic diversity, but there is ability for us to kind of go out and search for specific egg donors if that's something you're interested in. Obviously, it will take longer to recruit and to get an egg donor. We also work with egg donation groups around the country that have a larger base of egg donors, so that might add a little additional cost, but if you're looking for a very specific kind of egg donor, it might be faster and easier to go that route. So at any one time, we have between 30 and 40 egg donors at any one time. But it's they're rotating, right? Not everyone is, most people are only going to do 2, 3 egg donations if they do that many, so it kind of rotates.
But I actually I don't know exactly the rest of it. Keeps tracking. Maybe people are cycling. Like,
We're always recruiting, cycling.
We're cycling through, then we pull them out, and then we pull them out. But I mean, it's like that.
Yeah,
I
so
want
we're
to.
constantly recruiting, so it's kind of like a fluid thing where egg donors will be added and be taken off kind of like on a monthly basis. But would you have somebody specific that you have in mind that we could work on that process?
But I think that our time is up. If you have more questions, we'll be right outside the door, and we are available for questions as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.